And the 9/11 attacks not only hurt our nation as a whole, they also devastated families who lost loved ones and people who witnessed the scenes of that day. Events like this can be a struggle for some, especially when they don't know how to cope with all the emotions. Psychotherapist Kelly Kitley joins us now to talk more about dealing with PTSD and trauma related to 9/11. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
So it's been 20 years, that old adage, time heals. Does time heal?
It's so important to recognize that we experience trauma as a community, and there are many people on anniversaries that have time to reflect and look at where they were 20 years ago on this day. And for the general population, it's so helpful to process and to talk about these things with one another. Today, I saw so many people sharing their own story on social media, remembering this day. But certainly people who were even closer, who lost family members or friends, or who served during that time, are still experiencing symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder. Certainly, when we come up on an anniversary, many of us, with the visuals that we're seeing, can be brought right back there. We might be feeling a little more irritable or agitated. But yes, there are people who are still experiencing intense emotions around this event.
And we know that if we don't deal with something, it can last for years and decades and come up when you see images like this. What about the first responders especially? We know there are high rates of suicide among firefighters, police, other people on the ground. What are they experiencing?
There's a lot of comorbidity that comes along with trauma and post-traumatic stress disorder. And so sometimes people are self-medicating with alcohol or are experiencing severe depression and suicide, absolutely. And it's important for people who are struggling to seek the help that they need and deserve. And we know that the best combination of treatment is medication and psychotherapy.
And you mentioned this before, but what about when it comes to the collective psyche of Americans, right? Or as the world as a whole, people who travel? How has that day shaped us as a society?
I really like to look at this from the lens of a positive psychology. We come together in resilience and supporting one another. And as human beings, we are inclined to want to be in community and to want to support one another. And so it is a somber time. And I encourage all people to take a moment and reflect and either light a candle or write some feelings down in a journal or talk to somebody, and just take a couple moments of pause.
Yeah, we saw people sociologically, right, respond with negative and positive reactions. There was increased prejudice and incidents of prejudice, but also increased charitable giving, civic engagement. So that says a lot about human nature. Before I let you go, I want to just ask you, how do you explain something like this to children?
Oh my gosh, as a mother with 4 children of my own, it has definitely created some interesting conversation. And I think the more we can educate children about this in a way that isn't fear-based or anxiety-provoking, but factual, and they're learning about it in school. And I think if we can continue to have that conversation at home and listen to their concerns and validate their feelings, then we're doing them an amazing service.
Yeah, not always easy to do, right, when you want to protect children. Kelly, thank you so much for being here. Very helpful information tonight.
Appreciate it. Have a great night.